We could do anything. But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be?
Welcome to Data-Driven Sports Betting. I'm A-Train Bets, and I use my brain to make bets. And in this video, we're going to talk about the sports books and the weightings for those sports books that you'll see in A-Train Station. And so let's jump into it. What we do in A-Train Station, you see this play screen. This is where you find a bunch of different opportunities to make bets. We have another video on that topic. We have a settings page where you're setting your bankroll sizing and your Kelly multiplier and all that. That's another video. If you haven't watched that video, check out that video on the settings of the play screen, because that will teach you some of the basics that you need to know to understand this video in a little bit more detail. And today we're going to talk about these books and weighting screens. So if we go to the books, what the books are, this is where you can click on, you click off, and what this is that this is all the books that we have data for at A-Train Station, right? So these are all of the different sports books that we are currently serving data for, and we'll continue to grow this list over time. But what you'll want to do is you're going to want to come in here and say, okay, what are the sports books that I can make bets at? So for me, these are some of the books that I've played at either now or in the past. And I can say, okay, these are all plays that I might be interested in making. We'll go here and select a bunch of different ones, right? And so I can just save that. And these are the books that I have. So when I hit save on that, it's going to take me to the play screen, and it's going to find me opportunities to bet at any of those books that I said I have access to. Now, the reality is that I often don't actually go bet at Bet Rivers anymore because they limit me too much and I don't make those plays online, but I can go over to the casino. So occasionally I'll go to this book screen and I'll say, hey, I don't want to see everything. Just show me everything for Bet Rivers, because I'm going to go to the sports book in person. I'm going to make some plays. So you can look at this list and say, okay, these are the plays that I want to make. Then you go over to the actual sports book and go there. You won't get limited as much, right? So things like that you can do, and you can just quickly, remove them, add them, choose whichever you want for any given time, right? And so that's where I can go in and I can just select, hey, these are the ones that I'm interested in betting in right now, and you can add them, remove them, whatever. So that's what we'll do. So we're going to save there. So that's fine. That's going to help how you get those books onto the play screen. You can use them in different ways, and it's really useful as this interactive tool. That's one thing that I'll talk about in every video. A-Train Station is designed to be interactive. It's designed to be something that you work with, and it pushes and pulls and it merges with. It's an instrument. It's an instrument to help you play sweet, beautiful sports betting music, right? It has to flex with you. And so being able to easily adjust the books that you have, easily adjust the play screen for the searches that you want, those are key things. But that's not all. What we really want to be able to do is what are book weightings. So there's a concept of a sharp book versus a square book or a recreational book. Now, I have videos that talk about how we do positive EV betting, how we analyze markets, how we determine no-vig lines, and all of that. Learn those concepts elsewhere. In this video, what I want to talk about is how we actually put that to use in A-Train Station in a pretty novel way. And here in the weightings that we use, what that means is, do we want to use these in the calculation for our market analysis? So if I look at this is a random play that we looked at a little bit ago. Here's a play where the no-vig, the fair odds, have been determined to be 221. Well, how did we get to that determination? We got to that determination because we have different book sharpnesses that are saying, on average, DraftKings is average. They are a 1. They are an average book in the universe of sports books. Bet Rivers, they're a little worse than average. They're 0.75 of a normal book. Caesars, a little bit better. If Pinnacle was in this list, you'd see a 5 on our standard bets. And that would be because Pinnacle is so much sharper than the average book, we give them extra weighting. And that's really what it does, is it creates this average weighting based on the sharpness of the books. Now, in some cases, some other tools may have an algorithm, or they may have, a Pinnacle strategy or whatever, but it depends on the circumstance in our minds why you might want to use something else. So what we do, and we cover this in more detail on the Bet Details video, but what you can do here is you can say, you know what, in this market, for whatever reason, I'm like, you know what, Bet Rivers isn't 0.75. Bet Rivers has the lowest hold in this entire market. I actually want to use Bet Rivers as the complete truth in this particular situation. What happens now? If I click on Bet Rivers, all of a sudden, it recalculates everything instantly to say, you know what, if BetRivers is truly all-knowing, if they are the god of sports betting and they have perfect lines, DraftKings is a much better bet than we thought. There's no rule that says all of these book sharpnesses have to A, be the same, or B, even be anything, right? You have to decide as a bettor, who do you think is going to be worth putting a little bit more weighting on? You know, some people will just say Pinnacle and Bet Online. Fine. You know, some people will just say, hey, give one of everything. I don't care. I just want a simple average. Fine. It's up to you to figure out how you want to do that. We have our defaults, our book default weightings here. They're pretty good. We think they're reasonable approximations, but they may change over time. And you may want to change them over time. That's why you can change them, right? I can clear all the weightings. I put in whatever I want. If you wanted to do a 1 for Bet Online and a 1 for Pinnacle, you can. And what that means is basically saying, ignore everybody else's books when we're assessing a market. I only want to look at Bet Online and Pinnacle for the market assessment. That is a reasonable strategy because you know Pinnacle and Bet Online originate a lot of lines. They do a lot of actual sharp action, which tell you that that book is going to be pretty good with their lines. So that's what you need to do. So if we go back to our default weightings, what this is all about is saying, okay, well, we're going to assume most books are average. Some that we believe like Pinnacle are much better, we're going to give them more. Some books that are worse, we're going to give them a little bit less. And that's how we're going to determine what our market averages are. Again, I highly recommend as you get more sophisticated in your betting, change this. I don't even use the default weightings for me, but it's a good place to start. We know you're going to not go too wrong by using the default weightings, but is there room for opportunity? Probably, right? So the key thing that I want you to note is that all of these books exist on a continuum, right? There isn't such a thing as this book knows everything and this book knows nothing. These are all sports books. They are all in the business of offering odds to bettors to take action and make plays, right? All of them know something about betting. Now you'll be like, well, Train, why do you have zeros on a bunch of these? Well, it's because of one or two things. One is it's a duplicate book. So some books share their back ends, their odds making with other books, with a third party. And what we don't want to do is just count that third party as a whole bunch inadvertently because we have one for, you know, BetRivers and, you know, Unibet and whatever. So we remove the duplicates. So that's why we do in our default ratings, we have zeros. Some of the time we just don't know enough about them or don't trust them to have good lines. So we remove them because we've noticed some sort of inconsistency, or they're so off the market so often that they'll throw things off. And we just like, no, in market assessment, we want to be very conservative. We want to be very accurate because we don't want to be guessing at stuff in our sports betting. We want to be data driven. We don't want to be guess driven. Guess driven is totally different place, right? Data driven is what we want to be. So that's why we have zeros in some cases. Ones are kind of our default. If we don't know better, we give it a 1, right? If we say, hey, these guys are really probably pretty good. Now, over time, we might even enable additional sharpness factors in different kinds of betting where we'll have it for, you know, totals and spreads. Pinnacle might be a 5. Player props might be a totally different rating system. Might be reasonable, right? And that's why in the immediate term, why we enabled this ability to go and select in a particular analysis, you can at least select, hey, this is the one I want to use for now. And you can click amongst them. So if I said, okay, I want to look at BetRivers, here's the line we get at BetRivers. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe Caesars is perfect. I don't know why you would say that in this situation, but that's what it is. Or maybe you're like DraftKings really knows everything. And then it's going to recalculate all of that, right? And so in this case, that's where we want to be able to just interact with it. And so these are all deep settings that no other tool that we're aware of has anything like this. But this is how we can start to reflect truth. This is so important. And yet people are like, it's either the super sharp book or it's super stupid book. Well, there's a lot in between there. And that's what you learn as you get deeper and deeper into sports betting. You realize that there is a lot of nuance in all of this. There's a lot of little things that can kind of tip your edge one way or another. And there's very rarely hard and fast rules. And so as you get more knowledgeable and you start using the tools deeper and deeper, you're going to realize, hey, there's a lot of questionable things here. And the good rule of thumb is just when you don't know, back away. There's other bets to make. There's some bets where you're like, yeah, we're definitely betting that. Those are the ones you want to bet. And the ones who were like, I don't know, Sometimes you might want to bet just a little bit because you think you might be onto something, but you don't quite know. You don't have enough data on it yet. So you might bet a little bit because you're like, I think there's an edge here, but I'm just not sure. That's fine. But it's all about evolving and developing as a player yourself. That's what you have to see yourself as. I'm a player in this game. It's like a chess game on steroids against these sports books, right? That's what you have to do. The size of the board's changing. The pieces are changing. How they move is changing. You never quite know 100%. And that's the beauty of it, right? You can navigate this, find edges, find opportunities. If this were all perfectly known, the books would be perfect and nobody would be able to beat them, right? Fortunately for us, we're far from that point, and the books are going to get better and better over time. We now have the tools to get better and better ourselves. So that's the key with this. So with the book weightings, I encourage you, as you get A-Train Station, come in and play with it. Try different strategies. Look at different things. And when you say, okay, I'm going to reset defaults, or I'm going to clear all my weightings, and you know what, I'm just going to do this one idea of like, I'm going to only look, you can say, I'm going to look at Bet Online, right? I'm going to look at Bet Online by itself. No Pinnacle even. We're going to save that weighting. And what we're going to say is, I'm going to save this weighting. It's going to take me to the play screen. And when I go over to the play screen, I'm going to be able to see, all right, what do I want to look at? Now let's hide our already bet. Fine. We'll hide those. We have a reasonable, list of things here. And I can say, all right, well, I only want to look at the ones that have player props, right? So I'm going to go in my search. I'm going to do player props. And that's all you have to do. It's already searched. And I'm going to say, I'm just going to look at Bet Online. In this case, you have Bet Online is the only one that we're using as a sharp book. But we also can see that you still have that green for Pinnacle. So that's useful information as well. And so you can say, all right, Bet Online, though, has the best odds for player props because they're just really, really sharp at that. This could be a viable strategy. I'm not sure. But this is how you can use that weighting system in tandem with your play screen to get you to a point where now you can start to analyze these things in a way that is unique to you, that doesn't get blown away immediately because everybody who's a customer of A-Train Station is using the exact same thing. We're not. We're all doing our own strategy. And so these plays you could find, maybe nobody else has even seen this Bet Rivers player prop, right? Because maybe you're the only one who's actually looking at Bet Rivers today, right? And so you could be like, okay, I'm at Bet Rivers or I'm at DraftKings or whatever. You're in a particular state with a particular book access. Like I'm in a unique situation because I can just drive over to Rivers Casino and play at Bet Rivers all I want, right? You might be in a similar unique situation, totally different context. We want the tool to be able to give you the ability to home in on those plays uniquely. And so in this case, I'm looking at player props for based on Bet Online. All of them are at various games. Most of them are all for this evening, and I can just go in and look at them. I can click into the play screen and or the bet detail screen from the play screen, and I go analyze it. It's like, you know what? Oh, Pinnacle has a very different opinion here. I'm going to click on Pinnacle now, and now you can look at the calculation here. Oh, yeah, they agree that Bet Rivers is really good here. Now I can go back to the Bet Online thing. Yeah, I'm going to play this. That's all it takes. I could probably go play this right now just based on the analysis I just did. And it's all driven because I decided to do something creative with the book weightings, right? That's the power of A-Train Station, is that you can use this in any way imaginable and the tool flexes for you. So with that, I think we've covered it. The weightings are really powerful. It's important to realize that this happens on a continuum, and it's essential that you be able to see transparently what the weightings are, because it's essential to your betting strategy. If you didn't know what those weightings are and you were like, hey, I'm just going to use whatever Train says to do, there's no way you can improve on that because you don't know what Train's doing behind the scenes. For us, we think, hey, start tweaking it. It's a key part of your betting strategy. So you should always know exactly how that market assessment is done, because that's the magic of top-down betting. That's the magic of positive EV betting. It's not the magic of arbitrage betting. Arbitrage betting is just comparing odds, so you could actually do that without any book weightings. Separate topic. But just know that's how this should work, and you need a tool that can flex to that with you. And that's what we've built with A-Train Station. We're so proud of what we've done with this customization of the weightings, so proud of how you can use this and interact and say, oh, I want to use a different weighting now. I want to just say, hey, Pinnacle is complete perfect odds, right? I want to look and see what it has there, or DraftKings, or whoever has the lowest hold, whatever it is. Because you're looking at a situation, you're flexing to that, and you're getting the most out of it, and you're making a decision quickly. Next 5 minutes, next $5, you go make the play. And that is why A-Train Station is so powerful. So I hope you'll join us at the station, become a member, and put this power to work for you. So with that, everybody, thank you for looking at this. We're really proud of this functionality. We're going to keep making it better and better. So if you see some differences in what you see in this video and what you see in the actual app, it means we made some improvements, and that's going to keep happening. And we'll record the videos again and again when the current situation becomes like, I don't even know what he's looking at anymore. Well, then we probably need to create a new video. But for now, we at least want to make sure that you have some understanding of what our intentions are here, how to use it, and how it can help you in your sports betting. So with that, everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. And hope you'll keep watching the videos. We got a whole playlist on things about A-Train Station, teach you how to use it, and hopefully it'll help you win some money very soon. So thank you, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.